It's my favorite gay wasp.
It is.
Gay Jew, I guess. But then we have to be careful with the terminology. You can follow him on the Twitter at Rubin Report, and you can follow him on YouTube, youtube.com/Rubin Report, for as long as he's allowed to still be there. Dave Rubin, how are you, sir?
Well, first off, Crowder, a lot of people right now, a lot of people telling me that you're a homophobe.
Yes.
That's word out on the street. Now, of course, a phobe is a phobia. A phobia is an irrational fear. Yep. So I thought, even though you're interviewing me here, I would ask you the first question. Do you have an irrational fear of gay people? Like, if a gay person is, say, walking down the street and you're walking this way, do you freak out? Like, you know, like... Is this going to lead to you telling everybody that I hugged you again and you tried to embarrass me and ruin my street cred? One time, we've only met once in person, and you did give me a very, very warm, uncomfortably long hug.
Ah, okay. Well, that always feels great coming from a man who typically likes hugs for men. So here's, by the way, how
irrational fear, because people are going to be angry just that I'm even talking to you right now. You deny my existence, Crowder. You're coming for gay people, even though you're dressed like a member of the Village People. What the hell's going on here? So do you have irrational fear?
This is if Alanis Morissette were added as a member. I don't necessarily think so, but I don't like the parties. They get a little bit loud. I lived in Chelsea for a year, and it was a little bit tough to find sleep. I'm not going to lie, I was irritated.
That's what it is. So you lived in Chelsea, which is like at one time was really like the gayest place in New York. I'm not sure if it still is anymore. I think maybe that's Hell's Kitchen, or out here we have West Hollywood. And I think a lot of what happens with you and the gays is you do have a little PTSD from living in Chelsea, where there's a lot of parties. It's very loud. There's people screaming and having good time. They have something called Sunday Fun Day. Really? I've never had that fun on a Sunday.
We just call it the Sabbath.
Yeah, well, I can't have that much fun during the day. I can have gay fun from about 8 p.m. to about 10 p.m. That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. By the way, so how offended were you at the apology? Because some people were like, man, Rubin is pissed that you made the Rock Hudson Gomer Pyle bit. And I'm like, well, okay.
Well, I didn't think the joke itself was that great. I would have appreciated a Golden Girls reference. You know, Blanche's brother, Clayton, was a very straight acting gay guy. I would have preferred that. That would have worked a little more comedically for me.
Yes.
But you're doing the right thing here, man. You cannot bow to these people. And, you know, it's not a coincidence that the same guy that's going after you, I don't even need to mention his name, but if you want to, you can. The same Vox guy that's going after
the gentleman and scholar from Vox of Latino origin who happens to be attracted to members of the same sex, which is both beautiful and brave. Yes, continue.
Yes, let's say.
Well, I don't care what his ethnicity is. I don't care what his gender is. I don't care about any of those immutable characteristics. What I care is about what someone does with their life. And in this case, this is the same guy now going after you and trying to take down your channel and making a whole hullabaloo about it. This is the same guy that a couple weeks ago, I think you know this, I was trying to get Pete Buttigieg on the show, tweeted at Pete Buttigieg. His PR press people say DM me. I get it, you know, the head of PR for him says DM me. Start going back and forth. We trade some emails. He's got a trip coming to coming to LA in June. We're going to work it out. And then next thing you know, this guy and a Huffington Post journalist and Media Matters, the CEO, president of Media Matters, all jump in to start the mob attacking the press guy of Mayor Pete so that he won't do my show. And then they just stop responding.
What was their reasoning?
Well, I'm a scary dude, man.
I was going to say, like, here's the one thing. If anything, the only valid criticism I would say of you is that you tend to be very nice with everybody. Like, I don't think I've ever seen you get in somebody's grill. I would love to see that.
Isn't it funny, Crowder, that we live in a time where everybody's always upset that everybody hates each other, right? Everyone's trying to destroy each other. We're more polarized than ever before. I mean, these are all just the things people say.
Right.
Then I come around and I have treated, you included, I have treated every single one of my guests.
You act as though I should have been the exception to that rule, but yes.
You were the one I thought about doing differently. But truly, I have every single one of my guests exactly the same, whether I've had Bishop Barron in here from the Archdiocese, in my own home where I live with my husband, and he's obviously not for gay marriage. I treated him with the exact amount of respect that I've treated any of my lefty guests, that I would treat any libertarian or any progressive with. I treat everybody exactly the same, and that's partly why I'm taking the hits right now, because it's one thing to go after you because it's like you're saying I'm a conservative. I'm using comedy to really throw it in their face.
Sure.
Where me, like, they don't know what to do with me because if it was the back of a baseball card, they'd be like, wait a minute, this guy's supposed to be a lefty. He acts nice. You know, he lives in LA. None of this adds up. So that's why a certain amount of hate is coming to me. But by the way, you know, this Vox journalist, And again, I'm not even sure what his name is. Carlos something.
Gentleman, scholar, Latino origin, same-sex attraction, wonderful, beautiful, brave. Yeah.
In his Twitter bio, it says that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that seems pretty freaking directly hateful, directly potentially inciting violence, like to be a white supremacist.
Well, it's not, but especially when you see that he didn't potentially incite. He said milkshake. He said assault, commit battery against white supremacists, and has identified people. Yeah, so it's not left to the imagination. There's like, we wouldn't call it foreshadowing if this were an auteur. You'd be like, oh, he's a violent guy.
Right. So think about what this guy's doing. I mean, we have 3 examples now. So he's trying to stop people from talking to me as an interviewer, no matter how moderate I may be. He's trying to literally get you booted off YouTube, and he's putting messaging out there as a journalist, and I've got air quotes going, that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. So this is why journalism is collapsing. This sucks on the YouTube front. I mean, they've been crushing my channel even worse than yours, and it's like, you know, we gotta keep fighting, man. What else can we do, right?
I don't know if they've been crushing you worse than ours. You know, do you ever think that maybe the criticism lobbed against you is that you are very articulate, you're very nice, but sometimes you use expressions that would sound like a 1940s homophobe, like, see those 2 good time boys with their hullabaloo, see? It's
a
little confusing.
Or a criticism of you?
No, it's a criticism. You said hullabaloo, the hullabaloo, these kids with their hootenannies.
I'm a little older than you. I am 40. I'll be 43 in a couple of weeks. So
really, you carry it well. That's the one thing with being lighter. You know, being overall, you're smaller than I am. Heavyweights don't age well. There's a lot of torque on the joints.
No, you're not aging well, everyone.
No, everyone knows that I'm not aging well. Like even Dylan Radigan.
Picking you off YouTube, it's the fact that you're aging horribly.
Yes, exactly. Like a podling from Dark Crystal. Not quite as bad as Don Lemon, but he just didn't get the gene. He didn't get the anti-aging gay genes. I don't know what it is with Don Lemon. He just the luck of the draw. So let me ask you this.
Wait, can I just real quick though, because look, I have no problem with gay jokes. I mean, the idea that you can't make fun of a certain group of people, it doesn't mean about destroying one particular person over their identity. But imagine if you say, okay, well, we can't make gay jokes anymore. Now, first off, gay people are equal in America. No one's coming for you because you're gay. So if there were rights that gay people
except for other gay guys, but yeah.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But that's a joke. See what you did there?
See? Tell me where that's hateful. Yeah, go ahead.
But the point is that you make those jokes actually because you know gay people are equal. So the point would be if gay people didn't have certain rights and then you were constantly going after gay people, personally, I would have more of an issue with that. I would defend you as a comedian, and I would always defend your right to free speech, obviously. Sure. But the point is, if you're going to come after jokes, just watch where this goes. Okay, guys, Vox, you want to take down Crowder for gay jokes? You got 20 years of gay jokes on Family Guy. Every freaking joke about Stewie, the baby, is about him being gay, and every gay character that they've put in that show. And sure. The Simpsons have done it with Waylon Smithers, and you could do every sitcom, every Friends, every other joke.
You'd have to get rid of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah, well, now they don't like her or him either. Because
yeah, I know, because he used the word RuPaul used the word tranny, and they were like, I think Patton Oswalt even had a bit about that. So he clearly didn't mean it hatefully. Well, let me ask you this: what's your biggest issue with it, when people would say this to you as you identify more libertarian now? What would you say to people who say, well, hold on a second, this is about YouTube. They have the right to, for example, completely demonetize whoever they want. You shouldn't be trying to influence market forces, or they can ban whoever they want. What's your response to that?
Well, the libertarian answer would be that you do try to influence market forces. You don't ask that the government get involved. Now, I think, look, this has pushed my libertarian side to its limits because the amount of power and control of information and the way we communicate and all of those things that YouTube and Facebook and Twitter have over us, I think there could be an argument that they should be considered a public good the way, water works and the electric company, if we're playing Monopoly, would be considered, right? Right. So I think there is an argument there. I'm not really for it. And the idea that the government should come in and regulate YouTube and Google, it's like, I live in California. I pay my state taxes on the California state website. It looks like Prodigy in 1993. That might be too old of a...
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Then we moved on to Angel Fire, GeoCities. Yes, I know it well.
Yeah. So these people, the idea that the government can come in and somehow that's going to make it fair, I don't love. So this is where a libertarian, to me, it's like you want competition. Now, the pushback I get on that from people on the right is that this is a case where competition can never flourish because of the monopoly and amount of control. And of course, the counter argument to that is that that when you make that exception once, you will always make that exception again and again. And every time government comes in, they just make things worse and all of those things. So I don't know that I'm fully decided on this. Look, a guy who I know we both respect, Dennis Prager, you sued Google over restricted videos. It's not really the mode that I would want to go in. I can tell you this. I don't even know that I've fully said this publicly yet, but I started a tech company just in the last couple months, and we're working on some of these solutions. And, you know, I'm fortunate. It's like you. We have problems and people reach out to us with solutions, and we're going to work on some of those things.
Can you work on the solution of turning your phone off vibrate? You and Naomi Wolf.
It's the gay mafia. They are really not happy that I'm talking to you.
I can't believe that. You know what? Tell them they're all welcome to come on the show. Here's the deal. They can come on the show. I'm not going to change my opinions, and I'm not going to stop making gay jokes, black jokes, half Asian jokes, quarter black jokes, Canadian jokes. They're never going to stop. I mean, people just need to understand this. And there's a big difference, by the way. We were just talking with David Barton about this. You know, freedom of speech. People say, well, where do you draw the line? And they always use a stupid example of you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can if there's a fire. The line is very simple. You can't lie. You have a responsibility to tell the truth. So things like libel, slander, those are actionable offenses. You cannot use your freedom of speech to deliberately lie to harm somebody else. And outside of that, that's it. That doesn't include nasty words or jokes that offend. It's deliberately lying to cause harm, physical or reputation-wise, to someone else. Outside of that, close the books. Let me ask you this. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think of the argument that they're going to basically leave people like us with no choice other than to take legal action against specific people? So, for example, you will find no videos of me slandering and libeling people, right? Either verbally or written. You won't find that. But there are tons of people that every day call me a white supremacist, call me a Nazi. I mean, I grew up around Holocaust survivors. Like, try to imagine the level of insanity of this, or the horrible things that they say about you. I don't know that I've ever seen you attack any specific person with any of that kind of vitriol. We need jokes. We need jokes. You know what happens to a society that can't joke? Violence. I mean, that's what happens. You start killing each other. Jokes are a way of illuminating a little bit of truth so that we can all sort of feel the same thing. So the idea, well, all right, we're not going to do, you know, Family Guy actually is the right example, because about a year ago, the producers said that they weren't going to do gay jokes anymore. I don't know if they've actually followed through with that. But it's like, once you say, all right, we're not going to do gay jokes. Well, are you going to do black jokes? Because you've been doing that for 20 years. You've been doing Jew jokes for 20 years. You've been doing Muslim jokes for 20 years and white people jokes. Once you start pinning everybody off and we're not going to make fun of these people, you're actually you're saying that group is the other and they deserve special treatment. And that's not good for them or for you or for a functioning society in any way.
No, I think you're correct. Let me ask this, just a ballpark. How effective has your channel been as a percentage of your videos, would you say, like demonetized compared to maybe, let's say 4 or 5 years ago? Has it been a significant uptick?
Well, it's all over the place. So I don't know specifically. I just tweeted out this morning that our rev is off by about 66% since March.
Okay, so there you go. So 66%. So here's my issue, is the dishonest business practices, right? YouTube courted someone like you. They said, we want you here. We're going to make you a part of our partner program. Whatever you made, you know, they made many, many, many fold more, right? They made it off the backs of content creators. YouTube never created any content. So my issue is with them saying, hey, Dave Rubin, we know at this point there could have been other options as they were coming up. They said, we know there are other options. We want to pay you to create content for our website. We want YouTube to be your home. And because of you doing that, for your loyalty, we are going to split the revenue with you. Okay, great. And then when they grow big enough, they try to cut you off at the knees. To me, that's dishonest. That's a dishonest business practice. It's not about necessarily even corporate censorship. If they're clear about the rules, no one, you know, this thing happened this week where no one is still entirely clear about whether we were completely demonetized and booted, if it was due to a shirt. They couldn't give us an answer. No one understands the rules. And I think the simple version is following the law.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, that's why perhaps legal action is going to be necessary, and it would suck for people like us to have to be involved in that. It would really, as I said, it would push me to really the limits of what my belief in freedom and liberty is all about. But they may leave us with no choice. But at the end of the day, look, we don't have to be on this platform. But we do something where we want to get our message out there. And there's other ways we could do it through podcasts and BitChute and all sorts of other things. And I think you got to stay smart and figure out what business model works for you and the rest of it. But the point is, this isn't that they're doing something across the board. We know who you're drinking the coffee in a gay way.
No, I'm drinking it. You said business model. See, that was a little bit of I was alluding.
Slowly out of it. Seemed oddly.
I can't believe that you said that. How would you? Yeah, why would you throw? Harassment. Why would you throw that out at all? They don't. I've seen. Most gay people use straws. Continue. Because they're a tidy people, I assume. I don't know.
Crowder, do you ever hear of a comedian known as Don Rickles from the old days?
Yes.
The Don Rickles used to go up in front of a crowd and he'd talk about the Chinaman over there and the black guy over there and the Jew over there and the wasp over there and the rest of it. And guess what everyone did? Everyone laughed and walked out of there feeling equal.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was like, there was one group I just wasn't going to touch. That would be twisted and that would be bigotry.
Right.
So these guys, the bigger issue, of course, is that we know they're coming after you. They're coming after me. The line just keeps moving. And I'm not even going to go into the amount of crazy far left YouTube channels out there that say all sorts of evil stuff and go on and on against Christians and white men and all the terrible stuff that they're doing all the time.
Right.
And we know those guys are going to be safe. So
yeah,
we got to figure out how to be smarter here.
Well, I appreciate it, and I do appreciate the kind words and support. And you know what? I would never make a joke about you being lispy because there's no truth to it. You actually speak more clearly. I wonder, you and Andrew Klavan, you have like a natural broadcaster voice. You talk here as Dave Rubin. Well, actually, here's one thing. Whenever I do not impressions, whenever I reference, no, this is my Dave Rubin is more like this. It's very sort of enunciated, and when he talks, it's very almost labored in that he's very thoughtful in his approach. Whenever I talk about somebody or I'm saying that somebody made a statement, I invariably do an impression. I don't even mean to. I couldn't not do an impression like this when talking about the Vox guy. I couldn't. I've never done that. I've done an impression of you inadvertently when I've mentioned like, yeah, Dave Rubin and I were talking, and I go into that. It's just a natural thing I've done since I was a kid.
But also we should note that this guy, his Twitter handle has the word gay in it. So he's putting it out there as if it's part of something. And then it's like, he can't say to you, well, you can't reference that very thing that you're making such a part of your identity. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's such a small portion too. That's the thing. I appreciate it because I know a lot of conservatives tried to, they got scared at first, and then now it's not just conservatives. Everyone has jumped in, every original content creator, because they know it's coming for them. But it really is one of those scenarios where, listen, it's maybe 2%, 2% of 2% of our content. 2% of our content is a Vox rebuttal, and 2% of that is making fun of the guy. We actually provide resources and information. We try and rebut it. Okay, we do have to get going. So on Twitter is @RubinReport, as well as on YouTube. And Senior Rubin, thank you so much. Please go back to the Angry Gay Mafia and let them know that, just tell them you don't like me. Put it on me.
Guys, Crowder's the homophobe.
Is virtue